Hey everyone, with the warmer weather finally approaching, I thought it would be a great opportunity to share with you my no makeup routine. So if you are interested in hearing what my routine consists of, then please do keep on watching. For me, a no makeup look is all about having a glowy, fresh complexion where your makeup is quite undetectable. So no cakiness, no dryness, no settling. So obviously being someone with drier skin, all of these products are definitely dry skin approved. As always, we are going to start off with skin prep. If you do not have a decent skin prep routine, your makeup's going to start to separate, it's going to look cakey, and it's going to look heavy, and it's not going to last. So we need to make sure that our base is the best that it can be. Now, whether you have dry skin like me or whether you have oilier skin, you still need to be using hydrating products. You still need to be hydrating your skin. There is such a thing as dehydrated oily skin, and don't forget, if you don't use a moisturizer or if you don't use some hydrating skin prep products with your oily skin, your skin is actually going to start to overproduce the oils in your skin to compensate for the lack of moisture and hydration. So don't skip it. Please do not skip it. This is the Haruharu Black Rice Probiotics Barrier Essence. So this is absolutely incredible for hydration. It's incredible for your skin barrier. It helps to plump and firm your skin. I literally just press it into the skin. My skin, I can feel it drinking in this product. I just love it so much. And it absorbs really quickly as well. Next in my skin prep routine would be moisturizer. So I have been either using this is the Embryolisse, the Le Creme Concentrate. And this is great because it's a perfect base for your makeup. So it works as a fantastic primer. My other favorite, which is a little bit more expensive, is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. So I would definitely recommend either of these two. These are amazing bases for your makeup, but they also are very hydrating. They're brilliant for dry skin. Now, today I'm going in with the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream simply because it contains an SPF. And I'm not going to sit here and lecture you about the importance of using an SPF. You make that decision for yourself. I would ordinarily go in with another SPF, a separate one in my routine. There's loads of SPFs out there that are glowy, that are great makeup bases, that act as primers as well as SPFs. While I let that absorb into the skin for a little minute, I'm going to finish off my eyebrows. Now, my eyebrows are no different whether I'm wearing makeup or no makeup. They're the exact same every single day. So I always go in and I fill my brows in with the Glossier Brow Flick. It's the same every day. I either use this or I use the Maybelline Express Brow. I have to use a brow pen because I don't have any eyebrow hairs, so I have to fake them. So this is my go-to because it's waterproof, it's transfer proof, it doesn't budge once it's on, it's on. So I have already filled them in, and then I go in with the same brow holding product to hold my couple of brow hairs in place, and I use the e.l.f. Brow Laminating Gel. This is a scary looking product because it looks white, but it dries absolutely clear on the eyebrows. And the thing about this is it will cling on to any teeny weeny tiny eyebrow hair that you have, even though you can't see it. And I just feel like it gives you really nice natural looking brows, and it will hold them in place all day. I am a massive fan of glowy primers. Now, if you have super oily skin, then obviously, you can go in here with a mattifying primer, especially in your problematic areas. Because my skin is drier, I'm going to go in with this. It's the Saie Glowy Super Gel, and I have this in the shade Warm Glow. I actually bought the mini. This was last month, and I wish I'd have bought the full size. I wish I'd have bought the full size because I love this product so much. This is an absolutely perfect product for using under tints or tinted moisturizers. You can wear it on its own. You can wear it as a primer. It really is up to you. So again, this is in the shade Warm Glow. And I'm just going to rub it in just like a serum or a moisturizer. And it's definitely not overly glowy. As I said, my only regret with this is that I didn't buy the full size because this is not going to last me very long. It feels incredible on the skin. Again, it feels like it's sinking into my skin, not sitting on the top of it. It feels really hydrating. And many people wear this just on its own without anything over the top. Now, for me personally, because I have a few issues, uneven skin tone, hyperpigmentation, broken capillaries, things like that, this on its own on a day-to-day basis wouldn't be enough for me. But if you have really good skin, oh, this would be amazing for you. So you can see there, it's just given my skin a really healthy injection of natural, subtle glow. It's definitely not too much. While I let the primer sit for a moment, I'm going to move on to my eyes. Now, my eyes are going to be basic, bare minimum today. I'm not wearing any eyeshadow. What I need to do is to just even out my eyelids and my brow bone, because I don't know if you can pick this up on camera, but my eyes are very veiny because I have really thin skin. My dermatologist always tells me how thin my skin is, which is great. I'm just taking my Tower 28 concealer. This is in the shade K-Town, and I do this every day. I just even out my brow bone and my eyelids. So on my eyes, as I said, I'm not going to be using any eyeshadow today, but I am going to put something on my eyelids, just something really minimal and barely there. So obviously, if you still like to look like you've got a little bit of something on the eyelids, you can go in with a little bit of bronzer on the eyelids. I'm actually going to go in with a highlighter on my eyes. Now, it's not a crazy highlighter, it's a cream highlighter, and this is from L'Oreal. This is the Lumi Le Glace, and oh my gosh, I love this. And I am a highlighter hater, okay? I'm not a big fan at all. And it's because of my dry, textured skin. But this, I just love. And this is in the shade Glassy Pearl Eclat. I think the majority of people would probably opt for nothing. But, you know, I'm just not that kind of person, okay? I have to have something on there. So I'm just going to brush it over the eyelid. And you can see how it just looks real glassy. Now you can use bronzer in the crease with this, but I'm not. I'm just going to, this is my Real Techniques. It's my base shadow brush, and I'm just going to blend out the edges slightly. I mean, you don't even have to blend out the edges because it doesn't have any edges. You see, it just, oh, I love it. And I just dip the brush in and just bring it into the inner corner a little bit, just because I have really deep set eyes, so it just opens it up ever so slightly. Now to add to that, I am then going to take an eyeliner. This is one from Essence. This is the Essence Long Lasting Eye Pencil. This is a brown colour. Now I'm not going for black because, well, I always prefer brown anyway. I just think that brown is a little bit more subtle than a black eyeliner. Now I'm not doing a full eyeliner at all. All I'm going to do is pop a little bit of this eyeliner onto my lash line. I'm basically going to tight line. So as tight to the lash line as you can. And I wouldn't even come all the way in. I would just keep it on the outer corner. And then you can get a little brush and just blend it out so that nothing looks harsh. And you see how subtle that is? It just gives a slight bit of dimension than having absolutely nothing over there. Okay, so it doesn't look like you've got a ton of makeup on. You're just deepening up the lash line a teeny weeny amount. So that's all I'm going to do eyeshadow wise. I have just curled my lashes because I want my lashes to be seen. It's the one thing that I want to wear today, that I do want to be detectable, because I just think that no matter what type of makeup somebody is wearing, I think eyelashes can always look really pretty, and they can especially stand out when you have minimal makeup on. If you have been to my channel before, or if you know me at all, you will know that I fully endorse drugstore mascaras. For me, drugstore mascaras outperform high-end mascaras. That's just my opinion and my experience, and I have a billion mascaras. So I mentioned in a recent video that I am not buying any new mascaras, but Sweed sent me this mascara. Okay, this is the Cloud Mascara. So you see how it's got this really slim brush and it has all these dense little bristles that cling onto every single lash. Now, it's not the most volumizing mascara, but for length, amazing. And for me, I prefer on a no makeup day to have length in my lashes than volume. I think volume in lashes can look great if you're going for a full makeup look, but on a no makeup day, I just want length. Okay, I think it just, in my opinion, just looks a little bit softer and it can look really, really pretty. So that's the mascara, and honestly, this mascara is phenomenal. This is definitely my new favourite. I like it a lot. I really do. Right, let's match these up, shall we? And you know, the one thing I really noticed about this mascara was how much it actually lifts your lashes. I've never really had a mascara that will lift them as much as this one. Not too volumizing, but for me, like that amount of length is just right for me. I'm going to go in with a little bit of a colour corrector. This is the e.l.f. Putty Colour Correcting Eye Brightener. This is very skincare-like. It's quite an emollient product. You can see it there, and it just disappears into the skin. So you can see how dark my under eyes are there. And I'm just going to tap a little bit of this in. And it just helps to neutralise some of those visible veins that I have under my eyes, which are just so annoying. You see how it's just neutralized it, but it feels really nice. It's not heavy, it's not cakey, and you can actually use a good whack of this and it will still look really nice and natural under your eyes. I really do like a few full coverage concealers, but for no makeup days, I don't go for full coverage concealers. So I'm going to go for a medium coverage concealer. I am going in with my Fenty Beauty Wear Even Hydrating Concealer. This is in the shade 240N, which is a neutral shade. I love this concealer, and I remember I reviewed this when it first came out, fell in love with it, and then I abandoned it. For some reason, I think I just had a bit of an issue with some of the shades. I had to buy a new shade and I stopped using it. But I went back to it and now it's one of my absolute favourite concealers again. And you can use quite a lot of it. So you can see I put quite a bit of it under my eye, but because it's such a hydrating concealer, it literally just sinks into the skin and it's not heavy at all. So for me, that area is where I need the coverage, because today I am using a tint. So I have to have the coverage under my eyes. But can you see how beautifully that is blended? No settling into lines. It's not heavy. It's not cakey. It's just really, really nice. And as I said, I use a little bit more of this than I do a full coverage concealer, but it absolutely blends in with the skin and never looks heavy. And this is my BK Beauty A506 brush. So my under eyes look smooth, they look hydrated, it's concealed the majority of the darkness. You could build and build and build this up and it won't look heavy, it won't look cakey. So I am going in with a skin tint today rather than a foundation. So all of the foundations that I have, although a lot of them can be really natural and look so smooth and beautiful on the skin, you can still see that I have makeup on. But this skin tint, it just sinks into the skin. It becomes one with the skin. And for me, on a no makeup day, makeup needs to be fairly undetectable to the untrained eye. So we are going in with this. This is the Hourglass Veil Hydrating Skin Tint. So this is definitely more on the pricier side. If you want a more affordable option, the Ordinary Serum Foundation, this is very, very skin-like, okay? It's definitely more of, I would say, a skin tint, but you can build it up. So I have the shade 7 in the Hourglass. Now this is more my summer shade, but it's absolutely fine for now because it does just become one with the skin. So I'll just show you the shade on my skin there. So it's totally fine for now, but I'd say in a month or two, it will be more perfect. So it's slightly dark at the moment. Now you can apply skin tints with your fingers. For this skin tint, I definitely like to go in with a brush. So I'm just dipping in my Anti-Hot and Flashy A501. It's a smaller, more dense brush. And I'm just going to push that into the skin. And you can see that it is really light coverage, but it's not no coverage, okay? So this is the best skin tint on the market, in my opinion, that I've tried. I think this is just phenomenal. It really is. So although it is a true skin tint, it will definitely even out any problematic areas, you know, even out your skin tone and just make it look hydrated and beautiful. And it's not overly glowy either. My skin still looks like skin. There's no clinging to dry patches. There's absolutely zero settling into fine lines. It just looks like my skin, but better. You can still see my skin underneath. If you want a little bit more coverage, so if you do want to go in with a concealer on problematic areas, so a bit on my nose, bit of hyperpigmentation, and that will sink into the skin. It's an amazing concealer. It's really, really, really good. We're moving on to bronzing up the face now. You can absolutely skip this bit if you want. Bronzer is not essential, but for me, it just makes me feel a little bit more put together. Now, there are two brands that I think do no makeup really, really well, and they are Merit and Glossier. So for Glossier, we have the Cloud Paint bronzers. These are very, very sheer, very, very natural and beautiful. And then for Merit, we have the Bronzing Balm. Now, you're not going to get a massive amount of longevity out of these products because they're so sheer, but what you are going to get is a very, very hydrated skin-like finish, okay? You're going to get undetectable makeup. Now, the only thing that I don't like about the Glossier is the actual packaging. I just find the packaging very inconvenient for my quick makeup routines. Okay, I have to take the lid off and put it out to blend it in and blend it on my face. Whereas this bronzing balm just makes everything really nice and easy. So I have this in the shade Seine, and I'm taking my BK Beauty 112 brush, which is just angled and perfect for bronzer. So this is, I think they called it the bronzer that you cannot mess up. And I completely agree with that. This, no matter what you would do with this, no matter how much you would apply, I could not ever imagine you messing it up. I can't ever imagine it looking too much or too heavy or, yeah, it's not going to, because it's so hydrating and skin-like. This is definitely a bronzer that has become a staple in my everyday makeup routine because I just don't have to think about it. It applies itself basically. It literally just blends itself. So can you see how undetectable it is? And that for me is such a tick for a no makeup routine. You just want someone to be looking at you and thinking, have they got bronzer on today? Or is that just their skin? These just melt into the skin and become one with the skin. I really like them for an everyday makeup look. So you will notice that on my complexion, I am using cream and liquid products. And that's because, number one, I just think they are much more flattering on my skin type, so my mature, dry skin. And number two, I feel like liquids and creams will settle in and become more one with the skin than what a powder would do. Powders can emphasize dryness, emphasize fine lines and wrinkles. They can be more detectable than what a cream or a liquid product would be. So that's why we've used a cream bronzer, and now I'm going to be using a liquid blush. My go-to undetectable liquid blush is definitely the Nars Afterglow blushes. Now, I bought a few of these minis ages ago and they are still going. I don't know how, but they are. So this is the shade Dolce Vita, which is my go-to shade. Then we have the very well-known Orgasm, which is really pretty pink. So there's Orgasm there, and there's Dolce Vita. And when you blend these out, they literally they become so sheer and melt into the skin. Do you know, I might use a bit of both today. I sometimes do that with these blushes. I use a little bit of both. So for my blush, I'm taking my BK Beauty N17 brush. This is one of the Nicola Rose brushes, which I love. So I'm going to do a dot of each. So I'm going to put a little dot. Now, honestly, you're better off with blushes to go in on the back of your hand first, pick it up and then apply it. But it doesn't really matter with these blushes because they are so sheer. Okay, so watch how sheer these are. So I've used two completely different shades there, but they will literally just melt into one. You see how it just gives you a real sheer wash of colour? I'm going to go in with a bit more of the Orgasm shade. I didn't like these when I first tried them because I was like, where the heck has my blush gone? But that's not what these blushes are about. They're not about giving you super full coverage. They're not about tons of pigment. They're just about giving you just a little bit of colour to the cheeks. And you can see here I'm using two different shades and you wouldn't know it. They are really forgiving. And they just work so nicely with the skin tint. Now, despite how sheer they are very, very buildable. Now, again, I would say to you, go in on the back of your hand. I'm just a bit lazy and I want you to see the shades in action. I always say the same thing about these blushes, the fact that they are so cooling and soothing and calming when you put them on. They feel like a serum, they really do. And although you don't get a super amount of coverage, look at how pretty they look. Now you can still see my skin through, but that's what we're going for today. We're going for a no makeup look. We're not going to have a full coverage complexion because that is going to be detectable. Today we're going for a fresh, glowy complexion where you can still see parts of your skin. On a day-to-day basis, I would actually go without powder, but today I am going to use some. I saw a video recently. Now, I think it was a Robert Welsh video. I'm not sure. I think it was a video where he was reacting to another content creator who was saying that the best time to put your powder on is the last step, because if you go in with some kind of setting spray, it is going to affect the formulation of the powder, which completely makes sense, doesn't it, really? So I'm going to go in with a spray now. I have numerous sprays that I kind of alternate between. So one of my favorites for dewy, healthy skin is the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray, which I'm almost out of now. This is beautiful. It definitely gives you a dewy hydrated complexion. But the spray that I'm going to be using today is a newer product to my makeup routine, and it's this. It's the D'Alba First Spray Serum. Now you can see here that it looks a little bit different to the rest of it, and that's because it is an oil-based spray. So this actually contains white truffle, and this is incredible if you have dehydrated, dry skin. And I have definitely been on a journey recently where I have had to accept that my skin is dry, okay? It's not normal to dry anymore, it's just plain dry. And introducing this to my routine has been lovely. Now, I've only had it, I'd say I've been using it for about 10 days now, and I've loved it. So it doesn't interfere with my makeup. It just gives me a really glowy looking complexion, but not too glowy. So I'll show you what it looks like. So we're going to give it a good shake. If you have the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray, it's definitely not as glowy as that. Now, the only thing I will say about this spray is it does have a strong fragrance. I don't know what the fragrance is. It smells a little bit florally, I would say. I like it, but it's not going to be for everybody. So if you are sensitive to fragrance, then you're probably not going to like it. I know people are going to ask me if it's a setting spray. I don't think it's a setting spray, it's just a hydrating spray. So I've not really noticed any extra longevity in my makeup. If I want something to last, I'm definitely going in with my Charlotte Tilbury. Just going to spray this across the whole face before I go in with powder. This, in my opinion, is absolutely amazing at melting your makeup together. Not melting it off your face, melting everything together. So if you find that, for example, your skin looks fine, but you get a few little patches across your face that just seem to look a little bit dry, a little bit textured, this is a brilliant product for that. So obviously I'm still in my early days of testing it, but oh my gosh, I love how it makes my skin look. See how my skin looks like skin? It just looks really hydrated and glowy, and this just looks really hydrated without looking greasy. So the last step of the routine is going to be a touch of powder, but I'm going to be really strategic about where I'm placing powder on my face today. So my problematic areas are definitely under my eyes. So I am not placing powder all underneath my eyes because you are going to see it, okay? It's powder. Powder is going to be visible, but I'm going to be very strategic in where I place it, and I'm going to pop the powder into my under eye hollows because that's the only place really that I need it around my eye area. If you are a regular viewer to my channel, you'll know that when I apply powder, 9 times out of 10, I am applying it with an eyeshadow brush, with a small brush, because you get such a precise application with an eyeshadow brush, okay? Don't be afraid of using a brush for something that it's not designed to be used for. So this is literally an old Morphe brush, and you can see the shape of it there, and it just fits perfectly into my under eye hollows. So I'm just taking a loose powder. Now I am going to be using this. This particular one isn't available anymore, the Givenchy, but it's the lightest under eye powder that I have. I do love the Huda Beauty, but it gives a little bit more coverage than what the Givenchy does. And I still need to find a replacement for this. If you didn't know, they've reformulated it, and apparently the reformulation is terrible. If I look down, you can see my hollows. So all I'm going to do is just tap this into, I guess, what we would call under eye bags. And that's the only area I'm going to place the powder in. Been a bit of a game changer in the last while, me applying my powder last, until I'm pretty sure it was Robert Welsh that said, you know, using a spray over your powder is going to change the formulation of the powder. I just never considered that. There you go. That's my under eyes. They do not look like they have powder underneath. But the minute that you bring powder up to your lash line is the minute that it's going to start to look visible. With this no makeup look, I ordinarily would not go in with powder, but I know that some people just cannot go about their day without a bit of powder. Now, I really only have one pressed powder that I completely rely on, and it's by Florasis. This is the Yurong Airbrush Tinted Pressed Powder. This is my holy grail pressed powder. I think it would be very difficult to come across a better powder than this because it just looks like skin. When you apply it, it just becomes one with the skin. It never looks cakey, and it never ever looks heavy. So all I'm going to do is take a really small brush. This is the BK Beauty N16 brush. Always sticking with small brushes for my powder. And all I'm going to do is just pop a little bit on my nose because that is a problematic area for me, and kind of in the nose crevices. This brush is brilliant for getting into those areas. I'm just going to pop a little bit in this area. And I think that's it, to be honest, because the minute you start whacking a load of powder on your face is the minute that your makeup starts to become really, really visible. I'm just going to take these out. So we are finishing off with lips, and for me, it's always going to be a lip balm, a lip oil, a lip serum, and today we're going in with my new favorite. I really love this. This is the Laneige Glaze Craze Tinted Lip Serum, and I have this in the shade Cinnamon Sugar, and this is one of the newer ones. Can you see how it's got the donut applicator? Love it. It's so comfortable. I love it. I don't know, is it a bit gimmicky? Not really. I think it provides a really cushiony application to your lip product. That's the shade Cinnamon Sugar. And you can see that it's got quite a lot of pigment to it. I'm applying only a little wash of this. So pretty. Love it. And that is it. That is the makeup routine complete. For me, a no makeup look is something that looks fresh, that looks hydrated, that looks glowy, that looks like your skin, but a little bit better. It's just supposed to be a makeup routine using products that will enhance your natural beauty, your natural skin, your natural features. And it's supposed to be makeup that is undetectable to the untrained eye. So do let me know, what are your go-to no makeup products? I would love to hear all about them down in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next video. But until then, take care and bye for now.